Hello, hello. Thank you for watching this one. I'm gonna go through the list of weapons I have refined for various reasons here on an endgame file. I did quite a bit of refining. Um, and to get Fevrite easily, you can grind gold pretty fast. I just published a video that is very efficient in getting, probably the most efficient way of getting gold. So check that one out too if you want to do this. But here's the list of things that you should keep an eye on and refine when you can, because these are probably the best weapons in the game to refine and use on your units. Here in the swords we have quite a few refines because there's a lot of swords with interesting effects, and a lot of them are kind of weak at first unless you refine them. Obviously we have the magic swords, the two runics you get through the game, as well as the Phantom Knight sword. Like these magic based swords can be used on a lot of units that you might be using, experimenting within your teams. Radiant Knights, Elven Fencers, even Paladins. So you'll have good use for them, I would say, the runics and even the Phantom Knights. And there's only 3 magical swords in the game, and in your list of teams and units you're using, you're probably going to be using enough Radiant Knights and Fencers, Paladins who use all 3 of them. So you should probably refine all 3 of these. In terms of physical swords, the best ones are of course like the +5 stat sword, because it starts at only 15, so it's a top priority to refine in swords. And then the Swordmaster and interesting effect specific swords like the Dancer's Delight, which like Swordmasters really appreciate. Now that Swordmasters got a buff, it's even worth to refine their other favorite weapon of choice, which I would say is the Wyvern Razor, because of the crit damage it gives. So like Dancer's Delight and Wyvern Razor, like if you have like extra Fevrite to refine all your Wyvern Razors, sure, go for it and give it to all your Sword Masters. The Crimson Epi is still a good sword endgame to use on utility units that like the initiative and want a good attack in stealing AP from enemies. I like it on Gilbert, as you see here. You can probably find a home for it somewhere else. I think Gilbert is probably the best user of it, honestly, though. And the Pursuance Blade is an excellent sword refine, I would say, after the ones I mentioned, just because Pursuit is a good skill to have on high physical damage units. I'm looking at you, Amalia, and probably some other units with high physical attack. It can definitely find a home on a unit or two. And then lastly, after all of these, like in case you need any more plus AP sword, like just the regular Cornelian is a good refine, as well as something like the Flamberge, or there's a poison version of this which I didn't refine. Yeah, there's definitely there the Scorpion Sting. I didn't refine it. Those would be a good to put on teams specifically focused on either fire damage or poison damage. And then the Gale Cutter and Hailstorm Edge are kind of honorable mentions. Gale Cutter just because the +20 evasion is huge and it has a double blast attack against flying. This one can be used on a lot of different sword units you might be using. Again, Swordmasters, Thieves, anyone who appreciates evasion, even feather shields or feather swords. And then the Hailstorm Edge is excellent too for giving a true strike attack, accuracy, 2 vanguards, a lot of sword units as well. So that's the list for swords, I would say. And then moving on to axes, there's, I would say, less interesting axes to refine than swords. Well, of course, the King's Axe gets a favorite. And then probably the second best one is like the Banishing Hammer because of the row attack and Banishing Smite. I didn't refine anything beyond that. If I would have more favorite or grind more, I'd probably refine from here something like the Golden Ram Axe and Carnelian if I really wanted to and was using it on someone. And otherwise, there is a interesting one in Hunter's Halberd for follow-up skills. The thing is that not a lot of axe units employ follow-up skills unless you're specifically using like an Outlaw's Pursuance bracelet on an axe unit. The Jaggernaut already has 24, so you probably don't need any more here. And there is otherwise no one's really using magic axes, and the Dark Knight's Cleaver is already almost at max, so I don't think it really needs a refine. So yeah, I would say like King's Axe, Banishing Hammer can find a good home, as well as the Golden Ram Axe and the Carnelian here. From the spears, there's a few more. Silver Trident is probably the best refine you can do on a spear, as well as these twin bow weapons and King's Lance for the magic spear units. If you're still using Dragoons on someone, you can consider putting something in Dragoons, or if you're using a lot of Werefoxes, you can put a favorite here into the Glaive or the Adapts, I would say, these two. And that's pretty much the best ones to put your favorites here into the spears, with of course these being top 3 that I already refined. And then from bows we have some interesting options. Of course, any bow with Healing Hunter is great, gives an extra passive point. There's of course the endgame Interrogator's bow that you could be using. As well as the Inquisitor. I have both of these refined, use on some archers. The Trappers is a good refine just to up its damage to do more AoE damage on the arrow rain. And then the magic bows for your elven archers. They will appreciate the Phantom's Knight's bow here and the Greatwood bow, I would say. Greatwood bow or Greatwood spirit bow even. Both are good. I have the Greatwood here. I think the Greatwood spirit bow would be the better choice. The crane bow is a good bow though to use too in case you want to, but has a great ability in triple shatter. It's already at 22, so if you have a spare, let's say like a spare favorite, one can go here to the crane bow. But I think something like Trappers is more impactful. And otherwise, like if you still need bows to give extra passive points, generally these Healing Hunter bows are the best for that. But like in case you want to give like a Carnelian bow to someone, you can refine that too. And then from Staves we have quite a few that are pretty interesting to up to max at the Blacksmith's Forge. Lyrical Wand, of course, just because it's such a good workhorse on your bishops, and I think unrefined it only starts at like something like 13 mag, so like for them to still have good healing and take advantage of it, it's a great forge. The Thawing Scepter, I would say, is like pretty much one of the most underrated damage staves in the game. I know everyone loves Trinity Rain and stuff, and it's great, but this thing shreds when refined in both PvE and PvP, just because a lot of things will be guarding or trying to guard your attacks, and Guard Hunter is a great skill. Yeah. I wouldn't say like anything else beyond this. Like Lyrical Wand is great, this one's great. Liberators and Purifier, if you're like doing like PvP things, those are two are useful. And then the Gleaming Mace, if you're trying to build or memeing around with like a cleric that does damage. That one's for you. Yeah. I wouldn't refine Grand Magus stuff. I know I refined it on this run, but I wouldn't recommend it. Honestly, the Sonic Scepter is better as a refined, as well as the Earthquake Staff. Which one was it? The Telluric. Yeah, the Telluric. There. And then from shields, best shields to refine are probably the 2 parrying shields you can get, because one would work very well on Virginia and the other one on like a frontline Landsknecht. It gets a serious bump to stats, and parry is a great ability. Nameless Guard, Radiant Cover will always find a home on some unit, and then the Blue Rose is like the best defensive shield in the game. So Blue Rose, Nameless Guard, parrying, and after that, if you want to refine more shields, sure, go for it for like the Azure shields or even the Scarlet Crest shields. Yeah. And then lastly, I think in Great Shields there's not too many refines that you should do, because I think the best Great Shields are already capped, like the Skirons and the Reflect Shield. So yeah, I think those are like the best weapons to refine in the game, and will find a great home on any units you might be using in different situations. Again, a lot of swords, a few axes, nothing comes to mind too much in axes, unless it's the King's Axe, the Banishing, or maybe like the Golden Carnelian, or even like Labrys. I wouldn't bother with it, but Golden Ram, Carnelian, and these two. And then here spears, yeah. And the bows. So yeah, if you refine all these items, you should be set on your teams to like experiment with. If I had more Fedrite, I would probably refine like more Wyvern Razors now that Swordmasters got buffed, and give like everyone a Wyvern Razor or something. Also mess around with like this Scorpion stuff. And just the good old Carnelian Blade. You can always find a home on someone. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you want to check out how to get gold really fast in this game, check out my other video for a quick guide there. Like I think I discovered the best sigil trial combination and unit combination to just generate like, I don't know, hundreds. You want to generate 100k gold in a matter of 20 seconds, you can do it that way. Thank you.